Hey everybody, I'm Sarah Blessing and I'm with my new friend Brian Zimmerman and we
Howdy,
are
howdy.
and we are going to do a deep dive on his incredible life, and I mean incredible. I just want to start by saying I'm so blessed and thankful and grateful that you reached out and that we met and that you're willing to go on this journey with us at Project Next. I'm really hopeful that we help a ton of people. And if we
Yeah.
just help one person, it's worth it.
Well, the
Um,
privilege is all mine. It's such a privilege to be here.
so thanks for coming over at my house. We're sitting on my kitchen table, and we're going to do a deep dive into Brian's life, and then we're going to kickstart his show, which is going to be on Mondays at lunchtime at noon. Eastern Standard Time, so you can watch live or you can watch after. But we're about to embark on a really incredible journey, and I'm really thankful. So let's do this. All right, I'm going to get live on Instagram. All right. Um, Heads up, before we dive into your life, I want to give everybody a update on one of my closest friends and co-founder at Project Next, Tim Peck. He let you all know yesterday in his Dr. Tim episode that he just had very serious surgery for a chronic stomach condition that he's had since early 20s, and it causes a lot of blood loss, and he's been very low blood for a while now, and he had surgery this morning. His wife messaged me and said he was out of surgery and doing well, and they were getting him in. He was in recovery, and they were getting him ready to put him in the car to drive him home. And then when you and I were getting ready for this episode, he FaceTimed us and talked to us, and that was really comforting.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he had major surgery. He did sound slower than I've ever heard that man talk before. He said he was pretty high on medication, but he was feeling a lot of gratitude to all the doctors and nurses and staff for taking care of him. It was such a vulnerable moment for him.
Yeah.
He's an emergency room doctor, so he sees the other side of it. And for him to be, your life is in my hands,
Yeah.
I think was pretty powerful to him, and he was just
Very.
feeling so grateful. He said the surgery went really well. So, oh, I hope my friend Dr. Tim Peck has less blood loss now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm overcoming gratitude that he's okay. I'm overcoming gratitude right now that I met you, that we're doing this show together. So I'm just feeling really thankful. Um, Today, our goals, we're going to outline your life. So we're going to go a little deep in what's happened in your life so far. And then on Monday, we're going to start with your childhood.
Yep.
Which was difficult.
It was challenging. It was challenging. Not unlike anyone else's childhood, I would imagine. So.
And I'm getting to know you, and I appreciate you giving me so much of your time.
Of course.
And in finding out about you, I'm going to shout out this thing that really shows your personality. I tried to advertise this episode as a real life American hero, and you're like, take that hero word down. And I'm like, oh, you are pretty humble. I would think most people would agree that you are a hero, and you're just like, don't call me that. So I'm just throwing that out there. I think he's a hero. He doesn't want to be called that. And that kind of shows you the incredible person that you are, which is probably hard to hear.
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't take compliments very well.
Yeah. Tim doesn't either, and he's getting better at it. And now this is part of what, it's very evident. And then I also want to say, for those of you that are interested in his life, you might like this book. You brought this book to me the first day we met, Masters of Chaos. I'm not very far, but I'm reading it. The draft says this book is very good. And it's fantastic. So if you want to know more about what life is like for Special Forces, which you are a veteran of almost 20 years of Special Forces, this book really gives you a deep dive into it. I'm really lucky because I'll read it and then think of a question, and I'll text you the question and you reply back. So I feel pretty blessed that I get to read the book and then ask a real one.
Yeah. Well, I'm really privileged I'm not in this book.
But your friends
a lot of my mentors, men that I was privileged enough to come into the 5th Special Forces Group was my first unit where I went, and so it chronicles the kickoff of the war in Afghanistan and what these men accomplished is just tremendous. So yeah, I'm not in the book, but I was privileged enough to be able to know a lot of these men. So.
And can I say what unit some of the men are? Can we say the number?
Yeah, they're in the fifth special.
The
This
fifth
is the
special,
fifth
because
special
I
forces
wasn't, I
group.
didn't get very far before they started talking about the fifth special forces. So
Yeah,
he's friends with the fifth special forces.
that's
In the
where I
book.
grew up. That's where I learned.
I'm always like, oh, they did this in the training, or this was what it like. And I asked him a question: did this happen to you? And so far, every time the answer is yes. So I am seeing that it is very accurate in helping me understand your life when you were in the special forces. So it's pretty cool.
It's good. Good book.
Yeah. And then I'm always telling my husband, I'm like, you know this. And he's like, that's so amazing. So Chris and I are in the same place if we're just so like thankful to be your friend. And then Tim's like, I can't believe we met this person. I'm like, right?
No. When I hear amazing, I think of my dad, Kerry Zimmerman, or my brother Alex. Those are the men that I aspire to be. Those guys are heroes.
As I've gotten to know you, I'm just so grateful that you met this family, because you guys are going to learn this was not the family he was born into. He wasn't born a Zimmerman. You were adopted.
Correct.
And I said something to you. I said, I'm so grateful that you got this family. You deserve that. And you were like, you had a problem with the word deserve. And I was like, well, we'll get into it later. But as the person that cares about you and is learning about your difficult life, I'm like so glad this happened to you.
Yeah.
And I've met just briefly your dad, and then very briefly your brother, and I look forward to getting to know him more. And I'm just so grateful you have them.
Oh yeah, that's.
I wonder what would happen. We wouldn't be sitting here today if you hadn't met them.
I think my life would have taken on a completely different trajectory, for sure.
So okay, let's talk for a couple minutes about your childhood, getting adopted, special forces, where you are now, and then kind of map out a little bit of what we're going to do with the show.
Yeah.
You all need to know a summary of his life, because starting on Mondays, we're going to go do a deep dive. You've been through so much. You're also very smart and moral, and you've also really learned how to communicate well. And I think you being willing to be so open and honest about what happened with you will hopefully help so many people that struggle, because life is freaking hard. Every day is hard for so many people. And your life is intensely terrible and intensely good. It's very, and you're learning how to handle it and be a stable, healthy person.
Right.
Your skills in being able to talk to me about it has very quickly shown me, oh, you're exceptional. You have a lot to share with people. Let's do this. Let's help as many people as possible. Okay. So I don't know as much about your early life. I just know it was hard. Do you want to tell us a couple minutes about your early life?
Absolutely. And I just want to start this off too. The gratitude doesn't even cover what I have. My privilege to be able to sit here, to be a part of Project Next. This is so many of my friends that don't get this opportunity, that didn't come home. They would be so very thankful, and for that I'm grateful. So I just want to throw out a lot of gratitude. I also want to be grateful for. I am grateful for every tragedy that's ever happened in my life, for every obstacle that I've had to overcome, every joy, every pain, because all of it brought me right here, right now, sitting in front of you. And it's just adversity is a really terrible thing to waste, if that makes any sense. So I'm just thankful that God has given me the opportunity to continue to keep coming back. And that's really what it's all about.
So. I just want to say, I feel the exact same way. Like, I've almost died giving birth. I've had a boss be very manipulative and try to get me to quit. I've fought government people that are most likely taking money from the government. And I'm so grateful I went through those hard times because it led me here.
Hmm.
Because this is not something everybody does. Not everybody gets
Yeah.
on a live program
Yeah.
and openly talks about their life. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I, I feel the exact same
Absolutely.
way. Okay,
Absolutely.
okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so let's go into your childhood.
Childhood. Okay. So born and raised here in southern Indiana, a little town called Corydon. Amazing, awesome town to be a part of. Uh, it's funny, from 0 to 18, all I ever wanted to do was get out of this town. And once I left, all I wanted to do was come back. And I think back about how many times, like, gosh, how many times did I think, oh, I would just love to go home, love to go home. But, anyways, yeah, born and raised here in southern Indiana. I was adopted at 13 months of age. My biological parents were very young when they had me. It was a very difficult situation for them to be in. So I was actually adopted from my biological aunt and uncle. Went into that home, and I don't recall a lot of my early childhood, which is really strange because the one piece I do remember being baptized as a baby when I
That's
was like,
interesting.
1.5, 2 years old. Really, I remember it.
Yeah.
But grew up in a household where we went to church every week, every weekend, every Sunday. Very, very religious at church. Very part of the church. But it was a struggle for me because I slowly began to learn that I was not naturally born theirs. So when I found that out, it caused me to have a lot of questions, and I was a very rebellious child. I felt like I didn't really fit in anywhere. Like it was a struggle for me to grasp, who do I belong to? Where do I go? Who does it? And I was so very fortunate enough to have people in my life who truly did show me an enormous amount of love and care, and I'm not saying that my adoptive parents didn't care, didn't love me, because I know that they did. And there's no manual for parenthood. All you parents out there, I know it. I have a son. There's no manual, but I do know, and came to realize that there's a whole lot more to being a parent than just having a roof over your head, than having clothes, than having food, than having water,
Feeling
and
safe.
feeling safe is a very important part of being a child. And I really didn't feel that safety within that household. So it was a struggle, but
And
like
you didn't know that not being safe, not feeling safe was not the way most, you know, kids feel. You didn't know
correct,
that was
right.
unusual. You assumed
I
everybody,
assumed it was
every
it was
kid's
that way
life was
with
like that.
everyone,
That's interesting.
which was really, I think that really kind of kicked off my attachment disorder, because I very much began to believe that love was a conditional thing that was
Oh yeah.
based off accomplishments, and if you do good, we love you. If you mess up, we're not so sure. So there was that confusion,
I want to
I
pause you
think.
there. You just said
Hmm.
something really amazing. I know people that I care about that
Hmm.
are right now, adults and children, in homes where
Hmm.
they are experiencing that every
Hmm.
day. They get
Hmm.
love if they do exactly what the person is telling
Yeah.
them to do, and they get punished if
Hmm.
they disobey. And they
Yeah.
are conditioned to think this is how life is.
Hmm.
This is how I'm going to live my whole life. And if you
Right.
are one of those people listening right now, that is not the way you should be loved.
Mm.
You're Think about how you love your children. Love is unconditional. No
Hmm.
matter what they do, you love them.
Hmm.
I will love my kids no matter what they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say, if you are listening and you are in a relationship where this resonates, it is not a healthy one. And if you can get out, get out if you can. And if you can't, there are people that can help you try to get out.
Yeah.
I
It's a really tough situation, really tough, and it starts at a very young age. Kids, they are such sponges, and they see how things happen, and how they perceive things are supposed to be. So, um, and I just want to say, I know that my adoptive parents, particularly on the mother's side, she had a very, very difficult life, a very challenging life. and she, I believe, was working through issues, and having me in her life, it made it even more challenging. So, you know, eh, again, I just want to reiterate, I know and understand there is no manual for parenting, and generally you do the way that you were taught, and
So you've had to unlearn a lot of behavior.
still unlearning. For example, I you know, when let's say, for example, um, I learned that it was okay to yell and
Right.
scream when I was angry at someone or something or about a situation, or
Hmm.
to get frustrated very quickly with people, if they weren't learning as quickly, or if I was trying to teach something. It got very dicey, and it took a lot of therapy, a lot of time to look back and flesh that out and go, oh, that's where I learned that. So but yeah, I was fortunate enough. I had so many people that loved and cared about me, showed me love and care, in this community, uh, and I was very fortunate in that sense. So I
So this is what we're going to talk about on Monday. We're
correct.
going to do a
Yep.
deep dive on that. We'll go as deep as you're willing to go, which I know
Yeah.
it's complex because you're not
Yeah.
going to use specific names. You don't want
Yeah.
to hurt anybody.
No.
You
No.
don't have hurt for the people that
No.
harmed you,
No.
which is pretty amazing. But we are going to really dive deep on on the things you're talking about right now.
Right.
And I look
Correct.
forward to talking about that because I think a lot of people have similar situations.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't abused as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I had parents that loved me, but both of my parents had terrible childhoods.
Right.
And so they didn't always do the best and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't know. It's not like they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
I have great relationships with my parents today. I love them so
Mm-hmm.
much. But
Mm-hmm.
like therapy helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy helped me
No.
get over
Yeah.
everything and just love my parents. And then my parents also have learned and grown.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so fortunate they're willing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think your extreme situation and mine not as extreme, and we've come to similar
Mm-hmm.
places, can help a lot of people. So that's going
Yeah.
to be Monday at
That'll
noon.
be Monday.
Okay. So now let's jump to your childhood was pretty rough.
Yeah.
And you seem to have a lot of abilities fitness wise and
Mm-hmm.
talents. So you are doing like track and field
Mm-hmm.
type stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
And are you in middle school, high school? Let's talk about the Zimmermans
Mm-hmm.
for a few minutes and
Yeah.
how that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So, seeing as how my life seemed to be turning into a love and acceptance was conditional based off accomplishments, what you do, how
Oh,
you,
so you're going to want to excel as best as
So
possible.
I found my avenue of approach for that was, well, I seem to be, athletically inclined. I seem to have the natural ability to run, jump, do the whole things. And so it ended up being track and field, ended up being my specialty, where I really felt like that was my outlet to prove my worth, to gain acceptance, that whole thing. So yeah, Carrie Zimmerman was a track coach at Corydon for 25 plus years. He also ran our summer track, the AAU track and field. So I was able to actually do it
I didn't
almost
know
year
that.
round.
You might have
Yeah.
told me, but I didn't pick up on
Mm-hmm.
that. So he was
Yeah.
actually.
He was my coach. Yeah. Yeah.
So then he would really learn about your life eventually.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He became very familiar with my situation. He recognized the struggles that I was having, where I was at.
And he's a very smart, caring man. So I could see
Yeah.
he's probably watching and seeing
Yeah.
the signs that
Mm-hmm.
something might not be right at home.
Oh, absolutely. And I very quickly, he is the first person I think that I ever truly allowed to come in, because I knew that he wouldn't hurt me.
Yeah.
I knew without a shadow of a doubt, it doesn't matter what I do in this life. He has unconditional love for me. My mom, Michelle, unconditional love. And so it was easy for me. He could have told me to go sleep in a dumpster and that's what'll make you better. And that's what I would have done. I trusted him that much. So
You were smart. You're so smart. You're so intelligent. you recognized you could trust this person. You
Mhm.
saw it. He proved it to you.
Mhm.
So I think this is
Mhm.
probably, just me knowing you for a short time, probably the best thing that happened in your life was this right here.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
shout out to the Zimmerman family. I'm so
Yeah.
thankful
Yeah.
that you all adopted him. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and think about the good that happened in this world because of this. This thing that happened in the past,
Mhm.
them loving you, inviting you to stay in their family. They have
Mhm.
3 children. They
They
had
do.
3 children, and
Mhm.
then you became the fourth.
Yep. Yeah.
That would be a financial burden on them.
Yeah.
And
It's
they
another
just,
mouth to feed.
and then they just love you. You're one of their kids.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
kind of shows a lot about this family
Mhm.
that we'll get to see more on Project Next. You'll
Yeah.
get to meet them, and I'm
Oh,
excited
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I'm just so thankful to them. I literally just want to give them a hug, but I don't know them that well enough
Yeah.
yet, and then it would
Yeah.
seem weird. So
Yeah. They're definitely staples of this community.
yeah, so
Mhm.
Zimmerman art class in
Mhm.
Corden, I'm
Mhm.
getting to know that place. I've never been
Yeah.
before.
Oh, yeah.
How fun.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's
Mhm.
the second part.
Yeah.
Now let's go, because you're this amazing athlete, which you're going to be a Green Beret. You go to IU.
I did. So about my junior year, I never really had any idea or that I would be able to go to college. I was, that was reinforced at home, at the home that I was in. Hey, college is not for you. That's not. And so, but change of events.
But clearly, you're one of
Um,
the smartest people I've ever met.
oh,
So, whew, that
I,
was not right.
so fast forward my sophomore or junior year in high school. Uh, Recruitment letters started coming in. They started, and I'm like thinking, wow, this is
Well,
I could do this.
you did well.
Hmm.
Were you on track and field at?
I did. So, but before I could go to Indiana University, because I didn't take the required prerequisites in high school, I think there was an upper level math class, a foreign language, and speech or
Yeah, because it
something
was
like
never,
that.
you never
Hmm.
thought you were good
That's
enough
just
for
not what
college.
I was gonna do. So what I had to do was I had to go to junior college for a year. So
Oh, wow.
the summer I turned 18, summer of '96, I sold my car. Uh, I I got on a Greyhound bus going from here to Bakersfield, California, with just a suitcase. And my parents and family, they all had a going away, dinner party
Aw.
for me. And I remember this was really funny. Before we walked out the door, Dad, he leaned over. He's like, "Hey, you're good. You've got some cash in your pocket, right?" And I pulled my wallet. I think I had like maybe $9 in my wallet, for a 4-day journey on a Greyhound bus to Bakersfield, California. And he's like, "Oh my!" So of course he did what any dad would do. He reached into his
Not any
pocket.
dad, any good
He
dad.
did, yeah. He pulled his wallet out, opened it up, and just gave me everything that he had in his wallet. And I think I ended up going out
You
there with
probably
maybe
wouldn't have known to ask.
no, I just didn't. I was so, there was a goal. I wanted to go to Indiana University and prove that I could do that. I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. He was a track and field. He's the 1983 NCAA Big Ten decathlon. He was the NCAA Division One track and field champion, the national champion,
That's pretty cool.
1983. And so all I ever wanted to do was just follow in his footsteps. And going to Bakersfield, California, going to junior college for a year, that is what I had to do. And I didn't know where I was going to stay out there. I didn't know how I was going to feed myself. I just trusted myself to get out there, and I would figure it out. I will figure it
And is
out.
that what you did?
And that's what with the support of my parents.
It's kind of
Yeah,
showing me how
yeah.
you were able to make it to be a Green Beret, because you were learning skills. You
Oh
had
yeah.
family that loved you, but you were doing things on your own that were very
Hmm.
hard,
Hmm.
and your determination and your drive
Yeah,
helped you to do that. So good job. I'm
yeah.
impressed. I didn't know that.
It was it was a good thing, but it was a bad thing because the reason I was doing it primarily wasn't for to prove to myself that I could do it. It was to prove my worth to everyone else.
I think that's very common in a
Hmm.
lot of people's lives. Like, it's not until recently where I made the mental decision to do things for
Hmm.
me. I was doing things that I thought I was supposed to be doing because life is scary and hard, and deciding what you want to do with your future is hard. And so I really trusted the people around me to be like, well, I think you should do this.
Yeah.
And it's not until recently, because nobody told me you should do Project Next Media.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
resonate a lot with you saying I was doing this because I was trying to get approval. I think a lot of us are.
Oh,
I think that's very human.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do this for a year.
So I do that for a year. I get the grades that I need. I'm able to transfer. I go to Indiana University.
That's cool. The one in
Couldn't
Bloomington.
believe it. The one in Bloomington. I get there and I fail miserably academically. Wow. And it was I knew how to work. I knew how to apply myself, but I think that I was so overwhelmed with the fact that, holy cow, I'm here. I can't fail at this. I've got it.
So you put too much pressure on yourself.
I put an enormous amount of pressure on myself to do that. And I ended up after the first semester with maybe a D+ average or something like that. And it's important to note, in my entire life, I have been privileged to have people that I didn't even know were there that were helping me along the way. And it's important for me to say, I, in no way, shape, or form, academically, I hijacked someone else's spot, like another student's spot that should have been in my place. You know, that's probably what should have happened. But I'm a good talker, and I know how to get my point across. And we were able to make that happen because
so you fought for yourself.
I fought very hard.
You had a rough start. You fought and you kept trying.
Yes.
So I would say this is probably one of the most important life lessons there is you don't give up. People always tell you you can't do something. People always like to shine a light on your failures because people like to control other people. They're everywhere. Yeah, those people that like to control us. Like I recently had somebody that's high up in Indiana Democrats at the state level recently gossip about me saying, well, she failed her state house race. And it's like, that's so funny because I openly ran saying this district's gerrymandered. I'm going to do the best I can and hopefully stop some of the bad.
Yeah.
And people will always do that to you. Just know that. But you believe in yourself and you don't stop. You don't believe the negative stuff that they tell about you because they're not you. They don't know what's inside here and inside here. Yeah. So you believed in yourself. And then probably having love for the last few years helped a lot in that. But I'm so glad you fought for yourself. I think you've always had a survivor's instinct. How do I survive? And so you know what you need to do to survive. So it seems like that kicks in when you're about to get kicked out of a place, you know?
Yeah, it's
pretty amazing. I'm really good. That is so important, you all, that you don't give up. It's okay to fail. I hate that people are so scared to fail. People are scared to go live because they're like, what if I say something wrong? You'll be fine. You'll be fine if you say something wrong. Yeah. People say things wrong all the time. It's okay. But we like to persecute people that mess up. We like to shine a light and be like, look at them not being perfect. It's like, yeah, we're not perfect. That's human. So I'm really proud that you fought for yourself. And I am saying you did deserve a spot.
I did.
And you fought for it and got there, but you did deserve that spot. I'm glad you got in.
I had a lot of people pulling for me also.
But other people have people pulling for them too.
Yes.
And I'm so glad you had people pulling for you.
It wasn't all me. It definitely was not all me.
I went to school and my parents paid for it. You know how lucky I am?
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people's parents don't pay for their college. I mean, so you and I are here today because we had parents work super hard to help us get where we are.
Oh, yeah.
You're exactly right. But also, you didn't give up on yourself.
No.
We need love. We need people that care about us. We need financial help, and we don't give up. And if you don't have some of those things, don't give up and keep fighting for them. Keep fighting for the things you deserve, you should have in your life. So, okay. So you go to Bloomington. We have pictures of that. He had big muscle arms in college, by the way. I saw a picture of it. I'll put it up on Facebook this week. So you're very big on being as physically fit as possible. That was one of you probably had that from childhood of you need to be amazing to get love. You're probably still at that place, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was very self-conscious about my physical my looks, the way that I came across to other people, my appearance. I would go so far as to say that I was a very vain person. I had a lot of vanity. I would also say, uh, it was important for me to be physically fit and do what it was I needed to do on the track. But I would say that I just kind of took it to the next level of, you need to look this way in order to be accepted and to look good.
I'm going to fight that just a little bit because I struggle with the same things you're talking about. I think you could have chosen many paths. You could have chosen drugs, alcohol, controlling other people, treating people the way you were treated when you were a kid. And you chose to make yourself very physically fit and be a really good athlete and a good student, which hurts absolutely no one. So I think it's fantastic, personally, that you chose that path. I also am very controlling about my appearance. I weigh myself every day to make sure I don't get too skinny, and I keep myself in a weight limit, and I have guilt sometimes for that. Like, not everybody looks the way I do, and our society frowns upon people that weigh themselves, and so I also have, and I've come to a better place. I've come to a more accepting place about, it's my body. I will look however I want to look. I work out every day if I can. It's a mental health thing for me. I get to watch TV. It's the only time during the day I get to watch whatever I want on TV. I love that. I will do what I want for my body, and I will do it in a way that doesn't hurt my children. I work out in the basement, so if they need me, they can come down and get me. I'm not leaving the house. And I'm just saying, I'm glad you picked that route. You could have picked 1,000 other negative things that hurt other people or hurt yourself.
Yeah,
and true. I'm going to say being physically fit doesn't hurt you.
No. But I will say, I think it's important to be physically fit because that it's important for your health. My body is God's temple, and I need to respect it and treat it the way that He would have me to treat it. So I would say, yes, I did do what I needed to do in order to accomplish what I needed to accomplish on the track. But it's important for me to be honest with you and myself. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was all healthy.
Right. I get what you're saying. If you're going to get arms that big, it probably wasn't always I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, allow yourself some grace here.
And That's what I'm saying. I have gotten to that point where I am able to give myself
grace. Because just
as
your friend, I'm proud to be your friend. Most people don't look like you.
Like you, my physical health is very important for my mental health.
I'm at a place where, and my husband is too, we're older parents. I'm 44 and have twins that are 6. I want to stay alive as long as possible for them. So I'm going to be as healthy as possible for myself, but really it's for my children. Their life is better if Chris and I are healthy and taking care of them. So you're right. It's very important. And my biggest concern about my community, and we've talked about this before, is I see women in our culture, in my neighborhood in Harrison County, that don't take time to work out or take care of themselves because they're putting their kids and their partners or their jobs or 1,000 other things in front of their own physical fitness. And I want to tell them, you are worth it. You are worth putting in extra time to be physically fit. That will make your kids' life better. I don't want my daughter looking at a stressed out, unhappy version of me, always putting them and my husband before myself, because I don't want her to live that way. Sure. I want her to be happy, not all the time. I'm not happy all the time, but I'm mentally fit, and I want her to be mentally fit. So I see our culture telling women, moms especially, you better put everybody in front of yourself. And I don't agree with it. I think that we should take time for ourselves. I think that you deserve to take time out of your busy day for you to work out if you want to, and for you to eat as healthy as you can. It makes your children's lives better. It makes your partner's life better. So I'm just throwing that out there because it's seen as selfish, and it's not really. Us being mentally fit and healthy helps everybody that's around us because we treat them better. Me not being a stressed out version of the mom that I'm supposed to be makes the people that I live with a lot happier. So my husband wants me to work out. He doesn't want a grumpy, irritable Sarah running around the house. Yeah.
I will play devil's advocate with that, though. It's in our culture, it's very difficult because so much emphasis is being put on work.
You're so right. Yeah.
And it's very difficult. Does a mom or a father choose, okay, I've got to go work this 12-hour shift and then get 5 hours of sleep and go do another 12-hour shift so that I can put food on the table, so I can keep the lights on, the water on? Or do I go work out for, you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
It's a difficult thing, but I agree.
You're probably working on that. So sometimes you would have worked out and you don't. Same with me.
Yes.
I would have worked out on Saturday, but my kid had a competition in Indy, and it would have made me not as happy if I would have woke up at 4 to run, which I used to do. I would wake up at 4 in the morning to get a run in. So I didn't work out on Saturday, got a decent amount of sleep, was happy all day. So that's a change I've just recently made. I used to get up crazy early and make sure I got that run in, but I'm calming that down. So you're totally right. There are some days you can't get a workout in, and that is also okay. So just the main point is give yourself some grace. Don't be so hard on yourself. I was hard on myself, like, oh no, like this is so vulnerable. I might gain weight if I don't work out that day. And I've learned to calm that down. And I've also learned it's not true. I'm not gaining weight. It's okay if I don't work out every day. So even the fear I had wasn't true. So I really appreciate you saying that. Okay. So you have college. Let's talk about 9/11, because with your age, you graduate. What did you major in?
I majored in history. In history, minored in sociology.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was going to be a history teacher.
Aw. Well, your life took a turn.
Sure did. I'd probably make a better history teacher now.
Yeah, I was just going to say you'd make a great history teacher.
Then. Yeah, but yeah. So my senior year, I was doing really, really well in track. Had a great season, and I thought that there might be an opportunity for me to make the minimum standard in the decathlon, to make the trials, the Olympic trials that were coming up. And so I was continuing to train, and I was working there at Indiana. And then 9/11 happened. And of course, the emotional response by so many Americans, and rightfully so, elected to join the military, the services, regardless of which it was, because they felt a calling to go in and protect our country. And so, and I had the exact same feeling, that 9/11 happened. The next day, I was in the recruiter's office.
You're not the first person I know that did this. Blythe Potter did this. And somebody I love, my ex-husband's brother, did this right after high school. He joined the Marines. And then went right to Afghanistan.
It was a really hard time.
If you are younger and you weren't in that age where you would be recruited for the military, it was a really intense moment in history. We'll talk more about it when we do maybe episode 2 or something, 2 or 3, when we go into it. But 9/11 is the most patriotic time of my personal life. And I was so naive. I'm a couple years younger than you, so I think I was a sophomore. I think I was a junior in college when that happened at IUS. And I just remember thinking terrorists were not real. I thought they were what's in Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. And it was a big wake-up call to me as a young person that terrorism is real and people are trying to kill Americans. I mean, it was mind-blowing to many people my age. Yeah. Okay, so
for sure.
Do you join the military as soon as you wanted to?
So, I was ready to. In fact, I I was a signature away from the last piece of paperwork that was going to put me in, and I was going to go to MEPS and then go straight to basic training. And I remember talking to my dad on the phone. There was a lag period between me having to do this whole thing, and if you've been in the military at all, you're very familiar with the term "hurry up and wait." So I was in that hurry up and wait period to sign that last paper, and I remember talking to my dad, and he said, "Brian," he said, I'm going to support you no matter what you do, no matter what you choose to do. I'm going to support you and I'm going to love you." He's like, "I just have one request." I was like, "Well, you just don't let this be an emotional decision. Let this be a calculated, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I need to do. This is what I'm called to do." He's like, "Son, this war is not going anywhere."
And do you see this, because this is another pivotal moment in your life that changed your life.
Mhm.
So this decision to wait a little bit,
Mhm.
do you see this as a good thing?
Yes,
That's what I
absolutely. And
thought,
it
but I
was,
wasn't
yeah.
100%. So this is one of those, your
Mhm.
dad gave you some wisdom that you took, which
Mhm.
again, you would have slept in a dumpster if your dad said to do it.
Whatever he said to do.
So I'm glad he said that. So this led to you being recruited to possibly joining the Green Berets. Is this right?
Yeah, so I'm one of the lucky ones. I had an awesome recruiter, Ralph Hughley. I still remember
Oh,
his name.
nice.
Ralph, if you're out there, you did a great job, buddy.
That's cool.
And I remember getting a call, my first cell phone. Flipped it open, and he's like, "Hey, Brian, I know you're busy. I know got a lot going on, but the Army has introduced this program that I think you really ought to check it out. At least read into it, see what it has to offer. I think it's right up your alley." And so, I trusted him. He did me right. He treated me well. He walked me through the whole process. And when I
And
came
that's
back,
not just because you're so grateful for them. That's because they recognized you were very smart and very fit and very capable of handling mental things. Like somehow they knew that in talking to you.
mm,
I just want to point that out. The
yeah,
military is very good, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert, at putting people where they will do the best for military work.
mm,
So it's not just you being grateful, it's also them being very grateful they found you.
I, I would say, yes. Um, but Ralph, he was like, I could tell that he cared about me as
Yeah.
a
And
person,
it sounds
and
like he's a genuine good
he was a
person.
very, very
Yeah.
genuine person. He was not,
And
you
that's nice
know,
because he could have taken advantage. He could have put you in some place that you wouldn't be saying you're
mhm,
glad you joined. Right. And you are
yeah,
glad this happened
yeah,
to you. So yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I get what you're saying too.
hmm
I think it's both.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, keep going. Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt.
So the Army was coming out with a program called the 18 X-ray program. And for those of you that aren't military, when you go into whatever service you go into, you're assigned a military occupational specialty, an MOS. And all of those MOSs have a number that is associated with them. So this was called 18 X-ray because all special forces occupational specialties, MOSs, started with 18. And so that's how they knew that you were a special forces operator, was via that designation. And so 18 X-ray, the X is signified unknown at that point because they recruited about 200 of us initially to come in to go and attend. First, we did basic training. 3 days later, I went to airborne school. 3 days later, I started a special operations preparation and conditioning course, which was a month long. And 200 of us ended up going to that special operations preparation and conditioning course. And at the
So
end of the
probably
month,
there were more people that didn't get to beat the 200.
yeah, there was a process that they went through to
So you're already have to be pretty good to just get into that 200.
yeah, they were looking for different criteria. Guys that
I
were
didn't
a little
realize that, but
older,
that makes sense.
we had to score higher on our general
And how
technical
old are you at this
scores.
point?
I'm 26, getting ready to turn 27 at this point. So, um, yeah, it was interesting. But at the end
I
of that
cannot
30
wait for the
days,
episode where we go into what it was like to just earn the. I can't wait for that
yeah,
episode
it's
because I read
it's a neat
about other
journey.
people's and it's fascinating.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
if you want
neat.
to know now, you can just get that Masters of Chaos book because it is so fun. I can't wait to hear about your training episode. Okay,
Yeah.
so you go through training. We're going to jump through the amazing part and hold it off for the next show.
Yeah.
You make it. How many
Yeah.
people made it?
Yeah. So at the end of that month, out of the 200, there were 30 that were still left. So, and it was a lot of guys voluntarily withdrew, VW'd. They
Because they
realized that it
realized
just
that they couldn't
wasn't.
make it. You have to
I
be very physically fit and mentally fit to make it.
I think they just realized that
Smart.
they were in over their head,
Yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah, yeah.
wasn't quite what they were expecting.
Yeah.
And it was the whole purpose of that month-long course for you Rangers out there. Imagine cramming Ranger School into 4 weeks. We had to learn all of that stuff because when we went to selection, we were there with people who had anywhere from 8 to 12 years in the military already. So the learning curve for us was very, very steep, that 200. And essentially, if you didn't pick something up the first go around, you were lost.
And so it's a way to pick up the brightest, most physically fit, most mentally strong, able to handle stressful, fast, quick.
I
I mean,
I would say that they were looking more for people who were adaptable.
Yeah,
Those
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Who were agile, who could deal with change very quickly.
Yes.
Their reaction to adversity was not severe. It was actually, okay, this is a challenge. This is what I was taught to do. This is what I'll do. But there were also, there were physical events. They would take us on ruck marches. We didn't know how far we were going.
Oh my gosh.
How
Okay, I
fast we
can't wait
had
to hear
to
more.
go.
So you told me a cool story too about like having to go to points on a map. You can tell when we get to that episode. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so you make it. You're one of a few.
30.
Then what happens? Let's just do a couple minutes about the military, which guys, don't worry, we are going to break this down on our series because I want to know so many details of what he's allowed to say on this show. Okay.
Yeah. And so after that was December of 2023. I'm sorry, 2003. Wow, it goes fast.
Yeah.
2003. So we all left. We were able to go home for Christmas break, and we came back from Christmas break. And on January 6th, we started Special Forces assessment and selection. So out at Camp McCall, out at Fort Bragg. I'm sure a lot of you folks know where I'm talking about. It's a glorious, wondrous place of learning, and you get a lot of support from the cadre that are out there.
That makes me happy.
So, but yeah, so I did selection. Ended up getting. I'll dive into all this. And go through the process. What I was thinking. What I think. That they were looking for candidates in selection. But the 30 of us that went to selection from this pre-selection, we all got selected. Started the Q course, which is anywhere for the Special Forces qualification course, which is anywhere from 1.5 to 2 years long, depending on if you get rolled back or if you get injured, you have to do something again for some reason. But yeah, then so I graduated June or July. I think it was June 2005. Is when I graduated, received my Green Beret, and from that point I went to the 5th Special Forces Group about a month later.
There's why the book, the 5th Special Forces, those are your friends. That's cool.
And I went to the 5th Special Forces Group. I attended, so for new operators just showing up, they had a course that they ran everyone through. So weapons familiarization, close quarter battle, a lot of med, how to treat yourself if you're wounded, that kind of how to drive, the vehicles that we were driving, all of this.
This all makes sense because of what I'm reading in the book. This is a little bit more detailed. I think they did go over all of this stuff, but yes, this makes sense with what I'm reading in the book. That's cool. So you basically know how to do a lot of things because of the military trained you.
Yeah, I mean, you typically in the Special Forces, you're kind of a rookie until you've got about 3 or 4 years in, because there is a lot, the Q course is the base level.
So much new.
That's the base level, and you learn what you really need to learn.
I bet you and
from the guys on your team.
I bet you and Tim Peck have a lot in common because he was talking to me about med school, and he said they like did a study of when people learn the most words, and like besides him being like a toddler, he learned the most words in med school. He had to learn all those words, the new words. I bet it's very similar to your training. You're just soaking up so many new terms, new things, new, you know. So
Yeah.
it's pretty intense, and you have to be able to handle it.
Yeah. So we completed that course, and 3 weeks later, I was in Baghdad. So
Wow.
it was, I went to Baghdad. I was there for a while, and then I went up to Mosul up in northern Iraq.
Wow.
Met up with my team in Iraq. I didn't go to when I in process fifth group. My team, my battalion was forward. They were in Iraq, so I didn't. I got on a plane, on a military aircraft, and yeah.
I can't imagine the culture shock, but I can't wait to get into that into the show. Okay, so you do nearly 20 years of special forces.
Nearly almost 19 years.
Okay. And we are going to do several episodes on that because that's a big part of your life. And we'll go into the intense missions. We're really going to go into, I'm really fascinated by the closeness you got to your teams. And then you had many different teams. So you're getting close very quickly and then you don't see them, right?
Yeah,
I would think that would be hard
yeah.
too.
I was pretty fortunate to where I was only on a couple teams.
Oh, so you
So
really
we were able to get really close. We knew each other.
do you stay
It
in touch
was
with them now?
Yeah, some of the guys I'm still in touch with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
fascinating. I'm really grateful that while you were going through those really difficult missions, you had people that you told me this. You said you would die for your friends that you're working, and they would die for you. I mean, and that's an intensity that most of us don't have.
yeah.
Another thing that he shared with me that we'll get into later that I just think is incredible is Brian has told me he didn't think he would make it during those 19 years of missions.
Yeah.
You thought you would come home in a box, and you had accepted that. And you were kind of surprised when you did come home. I just want to say I'm so grateful you made it.
Me too.
I'm so sorry to the many people that didn't. This is going to be pretty hard episodes, but we're going to go there.
Yeah.
So you make it home, and this is recently. You've been home, what, a year since October 1st? A year and a couple months?
Yeah, a little over a year since I retired. So just a quick so I went to the 5th Special Forces group, deployed with them. In 2015, I went to Yuma, Arizona, and became a military free fall instructor. I was there.
Oh yeah, that's the skydiving picture, you guys. So that's going to be a cool talk about skydiving.
Yeah.
And how many times have you went skydiving?
Quite a few. It's quite a few. It's up there. The number it's
over
up there.
1,000.
Yeah, over 1,000 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, most people don't do that.
Yeah.
And you told me the other day that you're scared to climb a tree, but you did that. So
yeah.
that's
I'm
pretty
not a fan
cool.
of heights, really. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more skydiving pictures coming because there's more cool ones. But that's my favorite. I think that's my favorite picture I've ever seen in my life is that picture. So
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun promoting the episode using that picture. If
That
you don't know what
was-
I'm talking about,
yeah.
just look, you'll see it. It's on Facebook,
It's pretty neat.
and Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we got the skydiving thing too. So you come home, and you don't stay right in Corden. There's a little bit of transition, but I cannot imagine how different life was for you the 19 years in Special Forces. Some of that time you're doing skydiving, you're being a skydiving instructor for the military. And then you come home. You just spent so much time being told exactly what to do, when to get up, what to eat. This is your mission. Here's the facts. You do this. You keep your people alive, and they keep you alive. And you're told exactly what to do with almost every minute of your day. You go to having not complete freedom, because not all of us have complete freedom, but just the amount of freedom you went from with your job to what you're dealing with now is so different. It had to be a struggle.
It was I think it's a little different in the Special Forces. It's not so regimented to where For example, my team, that we would do our own thing in the morning for PT. Sometimes we'd work out together. Sometimes we
PT,
wouldn't.
physical therapy?
Physical fitness.
Okay.
Or physical, yeah. And, and then we get together, meet at 9 o'clock. And then whether we have, we were at the range 2 or 3 times a week, whether we're doing whatever training we were doing throughout the week. And we generally had an admin day on like Friday leading into the weekend.
Admin day, meaning they're like educating you on your missions or whatever you need to know?
No, administrative as far as, paper, because we're still in the Army.
Okay.
We still had to do
paperwork,
cybersecurity and update passports and health and, that all that kind of stuff that everyone does. So it wasn't so regimented. It was very much in the special forces. They
gave you more. So there is more freedom than I realized, which that's good. That makes sense.
There was flexibility, but there was flexibility because we were senior guys, we were expected to be doing what we were supposed to be doing.
And you probably did. You did what was expected of you.
Because we knew that, our lives depended on it, our buddies' lives depended on it.
Right. So
we were able to get it done. But so quick run through Yuma, Arizona free fall instructor. From there, I was an active duty advisor to the 19th Special Forces Group commander. The reserve groups, 19th and 20th groups, I don't know if they still do, but they used to have active duty advisors there to assist with any training. For those of you that aren't aware, the National Guard and the active duty military, it's like French and Spanish, with a lot of things. And so I was able to go there, help the group commander, battalion commander, assist him with things that he needed assistance with. And I also was able to guest instruct to go back to the military free fall school, take guys from 19th group down. Yeah, so I did that. And then about 2 years after that, I went up there for medical hardship. My wife at the time, her family was not in good health. So the Army allowed us to transfer up there and be there. From there, I went to the 10th Special Forces Group after a couple of years in Utah. I was able to go there. I was closer to my family, and I was able to retire out of there in 1 October of 23. And yeah, the struggle for me getting out, it was I knew what my purpose was in special forces. I knew that there was a standard that had to be adhered to, because everyone on the team made sure that everyone else on the team was maintaining that standard. It was very, very, you prove yourself every single day.
Which seems so parallel with what you had in your early childhood.
Oh, I think it was very similar.
So it helps you. You were very able to handle the pressure.
Yeah.
Because that's your first memories as a human being is that environment. So I think that's fascinating. Yeah. And I bet you're not alone in that. I bet a lot of military people that thrive in that environment had very that childhood. So. You probably know that personally. So. You probably met people that had similar stories. So this is interesting because I didn't really know this until I met you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all, we're gonna stop here soon, and then we just kind of really wanted to give you a taste of what we're gonna go over in all of the shows. I can't wait to do this. Again, I'm just so thankful that you're willing to openly talk about your life. Some of the stuff we're going to be talking about is difficult.
Yeah.
And I don't think as a young person, you wouldn't have been there. We couldn't have met at 20 and had this show. This is a life learned. You're figuring it out. You're still figuring it out. My goals for this show are to help as many people as possible. So if you all can help with that by just sharing this episode, telling your friends about it. If you know any veterans, anybody currently in the military, or anybody that's struggling mentally with things that Brian mentioned today, send this to them. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube with one word, Project Next Movement. You can subscribe and then share it that way. We're a podcast, Project Next Media. You can listen. All of these things are free. We're on Instagram and Twitch. I think there's like 8 followers of us on Twitch. So we're not big there, but we are live on Twitch. So whatever way you are listening, please share it. And then also, if you know somebody personally, maybe message them or call them. Because again, we're doing this in the hopes that we are helping people. So, next episode. Oh, what is the show title of your show that you named?
The show title?
Yeah, for Monday. What's our show called?
Still working on that one.
Are you?
I'm still working
okay,
on
so
that
we
one.
might be changing it. You've got just a few days. It's Thursday.
I know. I'm still, yeah.
Okay, well, then I won't say the show title because maybe it's going to change.
It'll be out soon. Maybe what we ought to do, because I'd like to lay it out kind of like in phase lines, okay? So we're going to talk about early childhood, college, military, post-military, where I'm at now. So think of it as different phases that we're going to discuss and talk about, and what I've gone through, what I've learned, how I'm applying it now, the people that I've had in my life that have helped me, and that like you said, the whole point is I want you out there to know that you are not alone. There are people that have been there that are experiencing similar things. No one's got the same situation, but pain is very similar. Pain is pain, but don't forget, pain is an absolutely great avenue for growth, because growth comes from pain. So I just want to leave you that little bit. That's kind of where I'm going with the phases.
And with your pain, you can choose two paths. Mm-hmm. You can choose to be a victim and to hurt others and constantly constantly call out other people and just say, poor me,
which I've gone down that road. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work.
Or you can pick the other way, where you admit your own faults, see all the times that people hurt and helped you, and be grateful to the people that helped you, and understand better the people that hurt you, and grow. And you're doing that. You're on that journey. I'm trying to do that. I'm not perfect. I mess up every day, but I'm trying to pick the path of, let's make the world better and let's help people that are struggling.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you reached out to me, because you saw that, and I see that in you. And so it's fun to be with people like that. And Tim Peck is like that. He's a person like that. And so let's go on this journey together. And I have big hopes for this show. I know it's going to help some people. I hope it helps a lot of people. And I hope that
it's going to help me.
And it's going to help me too.
Let it help
like
me too.
This is a joy that I get to do this with you. This is amazing. Yeah. And then I just want to also talk about something different. I've got a couple shows coming up tomorrow. Corinne Straight, one of my closest friends, we are doing a Plots and Politics episode at 11:30 tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. She does a deep dive on historical things. I don't know if you've watched it yet, but we did a 3-part series about the Civil War and after the Civil War, and Black Americans, and like government laws. And now we're going to go and do a deep dive on American women. And like, it's not easy, because like white women got to vote before other races of women. And we're going to do a deep dive on that, and also shine a light on how the same things keep happening. We keep repeating history. We just have better technology now. So I'm excited about that. That's at 11:30 tomorrow. And then this Saturday in Indiana, we did a lot of episodes about this. A few people get to elect the Indiana Democratic State Chair. And I'm very hopeful that my close friend, this is not Project Next, this is Sarah Blessing saying, I hope Destiny Wells gets elected. She is not a veteran because she's still in the military. She is still working in the military now. She's one of the bravest people I know. I can't wait for you to talk to her. You guys have a lot in common. And she's 41. She's very mentally fit, physically fit. And she's already had to tackle some fake gossip on the political end, which really makes me want to throw up, because I've been dealing with that too. She's already dealt with some of the things. The new gossip about her is, oh, what if she runs for office while she's state chair? Well, if she does that, she'll be amazing at both of those jobs. I just want to explain, Mike Small, who's our chair right now, also has a job and has been state chair. And I did not hear anybody say that about him. So I'm just calling that out. I think that's a little sexist. And there's another person that's in her 70s, And I really think we should have a younger person. Destiny has that drive. She's sort of like Tim Peck, where she can do 10 people's jobs herself and handle it. She's that intelligent and driven and physically fit. So trust me when I say, if she does choose to run for something in 2 years, she can do both things very well. I am a personal friend with her. We did our own show together where she told us her own struggles, and I was so proud of her because that was really vulnerable. She can handle it. So if you know anybody that gets to vote this Saturday and they are hearing that rumor, could you please carefully explain to them that our current chair has a full-time job and is doing both things? So let's just point that out. So thanks for letting me tell everybody about that. And Destiny, if you are watching, I love you, girl. I'm so proud of you. You're one of my personal heroes trying to get women's freedom back in Indiana and save public education. And I will not stop until we get those things back in Indiana. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for being my friend. And we'll do this again Monday at noon, right?
Monday at noon.
Monday at noon. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I did want to shout out just a few comments real fast before we hang out. Thank you, Elaine, for saying you have this Brian Zimmerman. Is that a personal friend?
Great personal friend.
That's wonderful. Dennis said, such an amazing start. Can't wait to hear future interviews starting Monday. Thank you. My mother-in-law said she's watching. Love you, Liz. Brandon said, Brian, let's work out. We need a good ruck. What's ruck mean? Is that a workout?
Put a heavy sack on your back and
rucksack.
Rucksack. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
That's cute. Okay, thanks for putting that, Brandon. Thank you for being here. And then John said that he also joined the military because of 9/11. I know a lot of people that did that. So thank you for everybody that commented. I really appreciate that. That's the cool thing about doing the live show. If you like commenting, join us at noon. If that doesn't matter to you, then watch it after. And please share and subscribe and like and leave us a review, all those things. And then Aaron, do you know Aaron Branch?
Aaron Branch, yes, I do.
Looking forward to seeing the rest of this, Brian. I love getting to meet some of your friends. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there.
John Becker, he's my stepbrother.
Is he? Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, I love that.
My little brother that's about a foot taller than I am.
And the two people that have liked Project Next on Facebook and left a review are my mom and Tim Peck's dad. Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, can't wait to meet his dad.
If you want to leave a review for us, that helps us a lot on podcasts, on Facebook, on YouTube. That helps more people find us. So just shout out to the sweet parents we have that are doing this. It's so cute. Yeah. And then we'll get to know your family more too. And then I want to see how you guys blow glass and do that. That's really cool. And it helps you. That's another part. It helps your mental fitness because you really have to concentrate on it. So you can't think about all the other crap going on in your life. You got to focus or that glass going to break, right?
Yeah, it's about 2,200 degrees. It just wants to drip off the rod and bad day. That's
so cool. I can't wait to learn more about that. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. And we will see you Monday at noon or after. And thanks for sharing. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, friends.